Coming up, what were the results from the Santa Clara County special election recount? Find out next.
People gathered at the state capitol to protest a new bill.
High school teachers are adapting to the growing use of AI tools in schools. Stay tuned.
From the School of Journalism and Mass Communications at San Jose State University, your source for what's happening with a fresh perspective on today's issues. You're watching Update News.
Welcome to Update News. I'm Madison Wilbur.
And I'm Vincent Rapena. Pope Francis passed away on April 21st. His death marked the start of the Catholic Church's mourning and conclave, the Catholic Church's process of electing the next pope. Nick Austin has more on the Pope Francis' legacy and an insight into how some Catholics hope for the next pope.
Many viewed Pope Francis as a bringer of reform and believed he brought a progressive mindset to the Catholic Church.
I think he did not initiate doctrinal changes, but he did set into motion a conversation about how one is inclusive and how the church ought to be in the modern world.
Members of the Catholic Church, like Isaac Westlow, remember Pope Francis specifically for his progressive views on popular social issues.
I wasn't really too into the cathedral and the Vatican about how all the things he's implementing, but then when I got older, I started realizing all the other stuff he's been doing, all the stuff he's implementing, especially with the LGBTQ plus community and kind of involving them.
With a more progressive pope, such as Pope Francis, leaving behind a legacy of reform, the question on how the next pope will lead the Catholic Church is a big question for many. Some of the cardinals who are favored to be the next pope, such as Hungarian Cardinal Peter Erdo and Dutch Cardinal Willem Jacobus Eekt, are known to be more conservative-leaning, whereas more liberal-leaning cardinals, like Filipino Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, have been named as a possible candidate. While generations may differ in their preferred candidate, Angelo Toscano, a member of the Catholic Church's whole life, shared his hopes for the upcoming pope.
I think having better views and more welcoming views is something I'd want to see out of a pope, because I wouldn't want the leader of my faith to be filled with hate.
The papal conclave will take place on May 7th, and millions will be tuned in to watch. Once the white smoke fills the air from the Sistine Chapel, a man who was once a cardinal will emerge as pope. In San Jose, Nick Austin, Update News.
After some uncertainty, we know which candidates will be advancing in the San Jose District 3 special election. Our reporter Larry Larkin went to find out how this recount came to be and what's next.
After a recount, it has been announced which of the candidates will be heading to the runoff for the special election in San Jose's District 3 to replace former City Council member Omar Torres, Gabby Chavez Lopez, and Anthony Tordillos. The special election, held on April 8th, required a manual recount because of the narrow margin between Tordillos and Matthew Quevedo. Santa Clara County Board Policy number 3.63 states that an automatic manual recount will take place if the difference in votes is within 25 votes or 0.25% of the votes. With second-place candidate Tordillos having had a 6-vote lead over third-place candidate Quevedo, it met the threshold to trigger the automatic manual recount. The Santa Clara County Registrar of Voters Office certified the recount results on Monday. With the San Jose State campus falling in District 3, some are concerned over how the results could affect the campus.
We want to make sure that the person who represents us as our District 3 council member is a strong advocate for our interests as San Jose State students, faculty, and staff.
A San Jose State student who attended a forum of the candidates earlier this year on campus spoke to me about one of the issues San Jose State students face as relates to jobs.
The businesses within the school, like the restaurants and the student union, tend to be fully booked with employees who are students also all throughout the year. So for students who didn't get a chance to apply for those, their options become very limited.
With such a narrow margin, the Santa Clara County Registrar of Voters Office reminds everyone why it is important for everybody to vote.
The winners can be decided by such narrow margins. It really does show the importance of every vote counts and making sure that everybody who can vote gets out to vote.
The rules for these special elections state that the candidate with the most votes wins the election, provided that it's a majority of the vote. Because none of the candidates got a majority of the vote, the candidates that are the top 2 vote getters will advance to the special election runoff. The runoff between Chavez Lopez and Tordillos will take place on June 24th. In San Jose, Larry Larkin, Update News.
Starting on May 7th, your old driver's license will not be enough to get you through TSA and board any domestic flight. After delaying enforcement for years, TSA will now require people to show Real ID compliant identification. To tell if your driver's license is Real ID compliant, look at the top right portion of your driver's license and see if the image of the golden bear with the stars on it. Then you're good to go. If you see the words federal limits apply, then it is not Real ID compliant. The new enforcement doesn't mean you only have a Real ID driver's license. Presenting a valid passport, permanent residence card, DHS Trusted Traveler Card, Military ID, and Tribal Nation ID are all considered Real ID compliant forms of identification, and it can get you through TSA.
A new bill aimed to be passed had Muslims gathered at the California state capitol in protest. Our reporter Gabriel Evans went out to find out what went down.
Every year, CARE, the Council on American Islamic Relations, gathers hundreds of Muslims at the state capitol to advocate for civil rights. This year, they voiced their opposition to AB 1468. AB 1468 is a bill that aims to establish content standards, curriculum frameworks, instructional materials, and more for ethnic studies classes across California. The bill has received considerable backlash since its inception. Critics argue that if passed, it could severely limit the curriculum that educators teach across the state.
What they are doing is attempting to apply rigorous controls on how ethnic studies is taught in California schools.
The bill would require the curriculum, instruction, and instructional materials for all high school ethnic studies courses to additionally, among other things, foster multicultural respect and understanding and focus on the domestic experience and stories of historically marginalized peoples in American society.
Because our school districts have worked hard to put together a good ethnic studies program that looks at multiple perspectives and looks at a lot of different points of view from people all across the world. So I think this bill is trying to, simplify all this rich history that we've been able to collect.
Concerns from community members also voiced their issues with the bill. Some feel that further legislative control over ethnic studies will prevent the histories of diverse groups in California from being taught.
In a state like California, there's so many different ethnic groups and so many different histories and stories to be told. And if those things are set by the legislature in California all the way down, it loses the beauty of the different parts of the state in terms of people being able to tell their story and bring their story to the picture.
As of yesterday, AB 1468 is still pending action in the Assembly Committee of Education. For the latest updates on the bill, visit leginfo.legislator.ca.gov. In San Jose, Gabriel Evans, Update News.
Want to take a trip across the globe? Head across the world in our reporter Sophie Cipriano's segment Spinning Around the Sphere, where she will inform you about the major headlines across the globe.
In this week's Spinning Around the Sphere, we start off in the Iberian Peninsula, where Spain, Portugal, and even some parts of France were left without power for 12 hours. The major blackout started on Monday around noon when a high-voltage connection between Spain and France was interrupted. On Tuesday morning, the Prime Minister of Spain, Pedro Sanchez, reported that almost all power had been restored, as well as all power restored in Portugal. The cause is still under investigation. Moving to North America, where the Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney was elected for a new term on Monday. Mark Carney stepped into the role of Prime Minister after former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's resignation back in March. On Monday, the Canadian election was held, and Mark was given another term after beating opponent Pierre Poilievre. A significant turn for Canada's Liberal Party after Trudeau held the position of Prime Minister for almost a decade. Now, let's head back to Europe, where after Pope Francis, leader of the Catholic Church, passed away on April 21st, the process of electing a new pope has begun. The papal conclave is set to begin on May 7th, and on Tuesday, Cardinal Luis Rafael Sacco predicted that this conclave would be short. He believes that this conclave should only last a few days, such as the conclave that elected Pope Francis back in 2013, which only lasted 2 days. This concludes Spinning Around the Sphere with Sophie. Thank you for tuning in this semester, and be sure to tune in next semester for more.
In an effort to keep up with new AI technologies, some educators are feeling like they must adapt the curriculum. Reporter Isabella Dandoy went to a local high school to investigate.
Jesse Griffin is an English teacher at Evergreen Valley High School. He's starting to use the AI program, Brisk, to supplement his teaching, but remains unsure of its reliability.
It's almost as much work for me to just sit and do it myself. than to get the AI involved.
This is due in part by a new executive order signed by President Trump calling on K-12 educators to incorporate more AI tools into learning.
I'm still trying to figure out how to meet my goals for the course and incorporate AI as part of those overarching goals.
Some educators, like Melissa Marfia Rosa, prefer not to use AI in their curriculum.
Without knowing how to have their own ideas, that generative piece is really problematic.
But for Lorenzo Torres, a junior at EVHS, using AI tools like DeepSeek and ChatGPT help him understand difficult homework problems.
A lot of my teachers have given a lot of warning on how it could negatively impact us through us becoming overly reliant on it. And while that is scary, I see it more as a tool.
Despite these sentiments, there's still a learning curve for both teachers and students as AI makes its way into new curriculum.
I want them to use it as a tool, not as a crutch. And trying to get a 15-year-old to see the difference between the two might be asking quite a bit.
Here at Evergreen Valley High School, changes are already underway. But the full impact of this new executive order on teachers and students remains unclear. In San Jose, I'm Isabella Dandler. Update News.
Tuesday marked the 100th day since U.S. President Donald Trump took office for his second term. During his time in office, he has made unprecedented decisions that have stirred up some strong opinions, such as raising tariffs to an effective rate of 28%, setting 142 executive orders, and making controversial decisions, such as trying to overturn the 14th Amendment, which grants birthright citizenship, cutting U.S. aid to international students, and more. According to the Washington Post, during his 100 days in office, he has most historically unpopular approval rating in history. Most of these votes have come from different key areas, including immigration, the economy, tariffs, foreign relations, the stock market, and more. To see how the San Jose State community feels, we asked some SJSU students on how they feel about President Trump's first 100 days. From the 25 people interviewed, 17 stated that they were shocked and surprised with everything done by President Trump. The remaining 8 say that they're happy with what he's done and are excited to see what he does next. With over 3 years left in his presidency, there is still much left to be seen on what a second term in office from President Trump has in store.
When we come back,
one professor shares why there's more to college than perfect grades. More on that next.
SJSU students have the opportunity to immerse themselves in a special music event coming up.
Is it going to be hot or is it going to be cold? I'll let you know in this week's forecast.
Next is the story about a professor here at San Jose State, a familiar story of changing the course of students' lives, but with an unfamiliar notion. Take a look.
1, 2, 3, 5, 6, go!
Bud Ayers has been teaching dance at SJSU for nearly 2 decades. But unlike most university professors, on the first day of Bud's class, he informs students that their impending degree is not the most important thing that they should be focusing on.
Really what I want to try to get across, your degree is important, but all the degree does is it gets you to a door. Whether or not you knock on that door, up to you.
Bud's goal is to teach his students how to do just that, and he uses dance to break it down.
Dance is like life. You're going to make a fool of yourself. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to stumble. You're going to be uncomfortable. You have to learn to push through what other people think of you.
Before Bud started dancing through life, he used to swing. Not in dance, but in baseball. His dreams were of the field, not the dance floor.
Did you ever think, when you wanted to play baseball professionally, that you would become a dance teacher?
Never in my wildest dreams. Not even on the radar.
As Bud got older, he realized his dream of playing baseball professionally was getting farther out of reach. So he decided to take up a new hobby. A hobby that quickly became his entire life. Once he became a teacher, he knew he had to pass along what he spent so much time trying to learn in his own life. And for the students that were here just to obtain a credit or to learn a few moves, well, they were about to be turned upside down.
In my opinion, I haven't run into anyone who is as nurturing, as honest, as cordial, as helpful as Bud has been. There's no really other way to put it other than he's one of a kind.
Formulating his own life lessons, every day Bud takes time out of his own dance lessons and ensures to impart some lasting wisdom on his students.
I'm at least trying to plant the seeds in you so that you can think for yourself.
Jocelyn is a repeat student of Bud's. Before his class, she said she felt shy and insecure. Now, thanks to Bud's teachings, she's able to be herself.
When it comes to Bud, it's not about perfection, it's more about growth and kind of meeting us where we're at as students.
And Jocelyn is not the only student who has felt the impact of Bud's words. Over his 17 years, Bud has seen students at their best, and sadly, their worst.
I remember the words clearly. Had it not been for this class, I would not be on this planet today. And I just was like, oh my God. That's how much I believe the power of dance can do for people.
And the power of these lessons, as Bud says, is in the moves of his students. Because as everyone knows, it takes two to tango.
I'm the fire. You either allow me to light you or not.
In Bud's words, dance is simple, but not easy. And he hopes his students realize life is about the same. What his students hope is that Bud knows how grateful they are to him and his life-changing dance lessons.
Afrocentric music took over Tower Lawn this Tuesday. Sharing their cultural music with San Jose State students, our reporter Ima Moreno has more.
Dancing, singing, and drumming was heard all over Tower Lawn as students played African music from all different parts of the continent.
Just expressing the identity in music, how their music resonates with the people, the different type of musical forms and traditions. And of course, when you talk about music in Africa, you're talking about the dances as well.
From the musicians and dancers, they say it brings them joy to share their music, dances, and culture with people from all different backgrounds. They hope their music unites everyone.
It's meant a lot to us because that helps us to share our culture. And then that's help us to share a lot of stuff with the people and then bring happiness and bring like a lot of joy and love to some people who needed it.
For many students, Afrocentric music is a type of music they have never heard of, but nonetheless, they embrace its unique melody.
It's a very bass heavy, a sort of full body kind of feeling music, because I realized that a lot of, European or more Western music is very melodic and focused on the kind of high notes, but this felt a lot more, I felt it in my chest with every single beat, and it's a lot of drums.
Many different cultures have their own type of music, and dance for the musicians and the dancers who performed here. They hope they can teach others more about African culture. In San Jose, I'm Iber Moreno. One final time, Update News.
April 28th is known as Workers' Memorial Day, a time to remember and honor those lost or injured on the job, along with highlighting the problems with dangerous workplaces. For one local man, this day carries a deep meaning as he continues dealing with one injury that completely changed his life. Reporter Justin Ray gives us some insight.
This is Juan Rueda. He worked as a dishwasher and was forced to constantly lift heavy, ultimately causing him to injure his knee. I have to walk with a cane now and live with this pain. Why? Because of their ignorance. According to the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, in 2024, there were over 1.3 million reported injuries and about 750 fatalities in the workplace. The only thing they told me was to either work or they'll bring in another person. Many workers like Juan either do not know how to file a complaint or are scared of retaliation, often causing them to stay quiet.
I want to remind them that filing a complaint is their right just for being a California worker.
Some believe that proper communication from management with its employees ensures a safe working environment.
I think the reason why I felt so safe with my managers is because there was a high level of communication in all of my jobs. They were very responsive.
Many labor experts stress the importance of being knowledgeable on the rights and resources that workers have before any accidents occur. I found out that I could get help legally, but at that point, it was too late. These companies that use contracts abuse people. They left me with this problem. While many paused on Monday to remember workers who never made it home, others like Juan are still dealing with the consequences of a dangerous workplace. His experiences highlight why Workers' Memorial Day is about more than just remembrance, but also reform. In San Jose, I'm Justin Ray, Update News.
Okay, Vincent, I've been stoked because the sun is shining, and I always say I'm like a plant, I need to photosynthesize. How do you feel with the sun?
Madison, I totally agree. I feel like the sun just brings that special sort of energy down.
Absolutely.
Let's find out the sun's going to stick around with Yuvie Limon and this week's weather forecast.
My name is Yuvie Limon, and please be our guest for this weekend's forecast. We can see showers returning again Friday and into the start of the weekend. Along with some wind, locally gusty conditions are expected, but the cold never bothered me anyways. By the end of this week, a low pressure area is allowed to break, bringing an increase in clouds and showers. It may even snow over 6,000 feet up in the Sierras. Clear skies and locally gusty conditions are expected to wrap up in the weekend, with slightly warmer temperatures returning as we approach Cinco de Mayo on Monday. I know I'll be soaking in the sun for sure. As we get into the 7-day forecast, cloudy skies at times into the weekend, and as the winds are changing in Santa Cruz, with 59 on Saturday, 63 on Sunday, and 68 on Monday. Oakland will see cooler temperatures around the chances of showers on Saturday and Sunday with 62 and 67. San Francisco will be trending cooler later in the week with 60 on Saturday, Sunday with 62, and Monday with 67. San Jose will see cooler temperatures, showers, and chances as well, during with Saturday being sunny, 70, Sunday at 69, but the sun will shine on us again. This has been your weather forecast. Now back to the desk.
When we come back.
A spring tradition returns to the SJSU. The football team's annual scrimmage brought more than just fans together. Up next.
Students are coming in hot with their best studying tips for this upcoming final season. Tune in next.
San Jose State's football team hosted its annual spring game scrimmage. The event was free for everyone and an opportunity for the community to come together. Our reporter Abel Tariku takes us directly into the action.
Fans and media gathered in CEFCU Stadium to watch the football team have its final spring practice of the year, also known as the Spring Game, on Saturday. The Spring Game is a time for fans to get a last taste of the team before the regular season starts.
It was cool to have them in it. It added a lot to the whole atmosphere of the game.
The team went through multiple changes with notable losses of wide receivers Nick Nash and Justin Lockhart to the NFL. To make up for their losses, the Spartan added 13 new transfers to its roster.
Come to the event because I want to see which football players are there, and then whoever's not playing there, or whoever's still here, you know?
Another notable change is the solidification of the quarterback position, as redshirt senior Walker Eget will take the keys to the offense to start week 1.
It's a big team sport, and again, just everyone doing their 1-11 and just doing your job, because when everyone does their job, that's when teams are successful.
For many fans, the event creates excitement for the team's upcoming season, and for the players, the event helps hype them up and set goals for themselves.
It was a lot of fun, and you could really feel the excitement in this area when it comes to San Jose State football.
The Spartans will now go through a period of summer conditioning in order to prepare for the season. The Spartans host their first home game on August 28th against Central Michigan. In San Jose, Abel Tariku, Update News.
There's been a lot of big news surrounding SJSU athletics. Let's go to the big board with Larry Larkin for this week's Spartan Sports Central.
Welcome to Spartan Sports Central. I'm Larry Larkin. San Jose State Director of Athletics Jeff Konya announced on Friday that Jonas Chatterton has been hired as its women's basketball head coach. He has 24 years of Division I over 24 years of Division I coaching experience. The Spartans baseball team lost 2 out of 3 games against New Mexico this past weekend, including a 25-5 7-inning Mercy Rule win on Friday. They beat Cal yesterday, which is their first win over an ACC team in program history. The Spartans are 22-23 overall and 9-2 in Mountain West Conference play. In men's golf, The Spartans finished in a tie for 4th place at the Mountain West Championship last weekend. 2 Spartans, Ivan Barahona and Avinash Iyer, posted a 208 8 under par to tie for 9th place individually. In women's water polo, number 14 San Jose State finished 6th in the Mountain Pacific Sports Federation tournament, losing Friday to number 4 Cal 15-7 and losing Saturday to number 6 Arizona State 16-6. The Spartans finished the season with a 13-13 overall record. Darcy Spark finishes the season with 73 goals, which is the 6th highest in school history. And now, it's time for the Spartan Showcase. This is the Sport of the Week. And this week, we're going to highlight San Jose State's softball team, who clinched a spot in the Mountain West tournament. They swept a 3-game series over Boise State this past weekend, with the win on Sunday giving the Spartans their 2nd Mountain West tournament appearance in 3 years. Senior pitcher Mia Reynolds threw 2 complete games in the series, including all 6 innings on Sunday in the Spartans' Mercy Rule win, where she allowed 2 runs on 7 hits and struck out 4, helping them clinch a Mountain West tournament berth. Reynolds has 2 complete games this season. The Spartans have 1 more series before the Mountain West tournament, and it's a 3-game series that starts tonight at San Diego State. That does it for this week's edition of Spartan Sports Central. I'm Larry Larkin, signing off for the last time. Now back to the desk.
Finals soon approach at SJSU. Madison, do you have any study tips?
I do. I'm somebody that has to write everything down verbatim. That's how my brain works.
That's a good tip. Let's see what SJSU students' thoughts in this week's Day of the Spartans.
Some of my study tips are using like flashcards and like looking at the syllabus and making sure like I know like what modules to like, I guess, work on.
Don't procrastinate, but ChatGPT is a great thing to use. Don't cheat, but just, you know those, what do you call them?
Study guides?
Those study guides, you make sure you know all the answers to those, and that's all you need, really.
Practice questions, just so I can answer as many questions as possible ahead of time, just to give myself like a good headspace before I actually get into the test.
Obviously not procrastinate, but I also like to create Quizlets and review and practice any vocabulary that I don't know.
One of my psych teachers taught me this. It's to do something while you're studying, like chewing gum or anything that's not music related, because you know they probably won't let you have music while you're testing. But what it does is that when you're doing that same kind of movement like chewing, all of the things that you were learning will slowly come back to you, sort of like a memory thing. It just unlocks memories as you're remembering something.
All right, Vincent, I'm looking for something to do this weekend. You got something for me?
You know what? I totally do. Let's take a look at my weekend roundup.
In this edition of Weekend Roundup, we start off with the Pareo Party. It's a Cinco de Mayo Day party in San Jose. It will be headlined with some of the biggest Latin Bay Area DJs. Moving on. Yes, you're reading that correct. There will be a mushroom-themed festival hosted at the Roaring Camp Railroads in Felton. The 2-day event will include world-renowned chefs providing cooking demonstrations and more. It's a family event, with kids 12 and under getting free entrance. Finally, another Cinco de Mayo event in San Jose. A car show in the streets right outside of the SAP Center. With over 10 awards to be given out, there's a chance for many people to get recognized for their ride. Anyone is welcome to attend the event with free entrance. That's all I have for you this time on Vincent's Weekend Roundup.
And that does it for this semester's edition of Update News.
For all of us here, thanks for joining us, and don't forget to follow us on our socials at SJSU Update News. Signing off for the last time, I'm Madison Wilbur.
And I'm Vincent Rapena. Have a lovely summer.